Good morning, everybody. USS Princeton 2004 here. And it's cloudy, and the forecast is supposed to call for some showers. I got my other rain gear on. It doesn't have any lining, so it's perfect for warmer weather. And for breakfast, I had some adobo chicken, which is a Philippine dish. It was prepared by my mother. And of course, it's a given that I eat rice along with my meals. Being a Filipino, we eat rice almost with every meal. Unless we eat like at, burger joints. And those are the times when we don't eat the rice with it. And there's this restaurant chain called Jollibee, which is a company originated in the Philippines. And there are numerous restaurants throughout the country. And I heard there may be some in California. And that's the Jollibee, and its mascot is a bee, obviously, for the namesake, just like the clown for Ronald McDonald's. And the food is comparable to other burger joints. So they've been successful enough to even have some branches out overseas. And the meat products are, just your plain ordinary beef patties. And they also serve chicken, fried chicken, and the steak. It's not an actual slab of steak, it's like ground meat with cooked, with the gravy. I've been watching a lot of 13 More Death videos, or M13, and I've searched YouTube for his videos, and it seems that he has 3 other accounts, or 2 other accounts, and the other one is More Death 13 instead of the 13 in the front of More Death, and the other is More Death 13 with 2 O's, MOORDETH 13. And in a lot of his videos he showcases like dogs in Taiwan, and you know, he documents like some of the stray dogs and calls animal control to help out with the stray dog problems that Taiwan has. And in the Philippines there are also a lot of dogs, but we have dog catchers that patrol the cities and towns. And interestingly enough, some Filipinos, they eat dog meat. And our next door neighbor in Upper QM subdivision, they actually eat their own pets. Like, they would take care of the dog from, you know, they were puppies. And then eventually, when the dogs are all grown up, they decide to butcher it. And I guess, you know, they eat it for times when they have people over, they have guests, and when they're drinking with some friends, and they serve it as pulutan. Pulutan means like the food that is served to go along with the beer that they drink. So it's like a snack while they're drinking beer. So the country Philippines, you know, it's part of their culture. It's part of our culture. And I was actually invited to one of the get-togethers to try some dog meat and have some beer. But, you know, I turned down the dog meat, but I accepted the beer. And I don't think the Philippines is the only country that eats dogs. I think China does too. And in our country, I don't think it's a shortage of food or anything like that. It's just they have acquired that taste for dog meat, and I've tried it when I was younger, but then recently when I was back in the Philippines back in 2008 through 2010, like I said, I was invited to try some. But I, definitely disagreed to tasting it again. I think I'd rather eat other foods available, which, you know, there is no lack of. So there was no need for me to eat dog. And I think if it was a different situation, like a survival situation, and there was no other choice of food, and dog was the only thing on the menu, then, you know, I wouldn't mind eating it just to stay alive. And speaking of alive, there's this movie back in the 90s, I think, or maybe even in the 80s. It was entitled Alive, where this soccer team was flying over some mountains, and they end up crashing at the very top of the mountains where there's snow. So they were trapped there for several months, and they ran out of the food, the chocolate, and their only other option was to eat human beings that died in the crash. And I mean, I've seen a lot of things in my life, so I'm not surprised that people would do that. And for me personally, I'd have to be on the brink of death before I'd ever even try eating another human being. And the meat wasn't even cooked because they had no way of cooking it. So it was the bodies were partly frozen. So the meats were like straight out of a refrigerator, out of the freezer. And they cut them to little pieces. But, you know, I'll probably never in my life ever eat another human being. I'm quite sure of it. This is USS Princeton 2004 signing out.